Thank you very much. Can you hear me okay? Okay, today I'm going to talk about Japanese cultural idiosyncrasies. And the subtitle, as you can see, is How Not to Embarrass Yourself in Japan Without Losing American Dignity. So as you can see, I hope it's going to be a little bit light-hearted and a very funny presentation. So let me just go ahead and do this. So there are some rules in Japan that you want to follow when you go to Japan. And I'm going to present you about 9 rules today. So if you remember, you follow in Japan. Rule number 1. Honor the dead, not the living. So you meet a Japanese person somewhere like Minneapolis at the conference. Oh, I know how to greet an Asian. You think with a grin and with a light humor, never intend to offend anybody, needless to say, offending a minority. You put your hands together and bow deeply like this. The Japanese person looks at you with a mixed expression on his or her face, but just politely and slightly bows to you. But when she or he raises his face up, it's clear that he or she is mildly annoyed by your gesture. What did you do wrong? Doesn't everybody in Asia bow like that? I am simply showing respect to this Asian person. Maybe in Thailand, but not in Japan. Bowing with your palms together like that should be reserved for praying for the dead and should never be used for greeting the living. Almost every home in Japan you will find a Buddhist altar where family ancestors' photos and talisman are placed inside. When relatives and close friends visit each other's home, the first thing they do is to go sit in front of the altar and pray for the spirit of the recently deceased. 2 times in a year, one in spring and one in fall, at the time of equinox, Japanese families visit their family tomb, clean the tomb, offer flowers, and burn incense in front of it, and well, like that. By now, you may know that when Japanese do this at you, you are most likely dead. Rule number 2. Know your angle. So you take a note to yourself. When you meet a Japanese person, bow, but with no hands. Your first challenge comes in the form of your business associate. Then you meet your business client. Then you buy a can of Coke at a convenience store, and to a shop clerk at the store. Wait, this kind of non-discriminatory deep bowing cannot work in every situation. Yes, you need to know your angle when you bow. Business client. Your host family. Shop clerk. However, your ignorance of the art of bowing could be used strategically, even in your advantage when you are in negotiation. By not lowering yourself, you could give an image of superiority and even strength to the party you are talking to. We will talk about that after this. Okay. Rule number 3. Act like a gunslinger. Okay. You may know that one of the most important business tools in Japan is a personal business card, on which you have the name of your company or business you represent, and the title in your business, and your name printed in that order. The first thing Japanese do when they meet in formal situations is to exchange their business cards. You have your business card in your hand, and you are ready to give it to the person you met. You turn your business card around so Mr. Suzuki can read your name easily and give it with both hands as you bow at a correct angle. Meanwhile, Mr. Suzuki has his own card ready and poses to hand it to you. This is a moment that your gunslinger action you practiced over and over when you were a little cowboy and cowgirl could come to use. Let's say you were a nanosecond too late and ended up receiving Mr. Suzuki's business card first. Would you take it with one hand? No. You should take it with both hands. So what do you do with your own card when you are taking his card and looking at it and express a slight approval by saying, "Oh," and then take that business card and put it into your business card holder. All the time you hold your own business card awkwardly in one hand. Do you follow? So, in the situation, if the situation is reversed and you successfully hand your business card first, then you get to watch the other party struggle. So remember, gunslinger, fast action helps. Rule number 4, know your tribe and degrade them. Japanese add a word, san, to people's names when they address to others. Honda-san, Yamada-san, Kawasaki-san, etc., etc. San is an honorific suffix that expresses respect. To understand how to use this honorific suffix, you need to know who your tribe is. Your family is your tribe. Your school is your tribe. Your company is your tribe. Your government is your tribe. When addressing to someone outside your own tribe, you do not add the famous suffix "san" to your own people. You hold your tribe lower, so the other tribe will rise in the relationship. Do you follow? That's good. Alright, we'll talk more about that. Okay. Rule number 5, avoid death by all means. The beautiful Japanese sugar cookies, cakes. It is expected that you bring some gifts when visiting someone at home, school, and businesses. Japanese people love food as much as anyone in the world, or maybe more than anyone in the world for that matter. So you bring fruits, cakes, or something they can consume. Let's say there are 4 people in the house you are visiting. So you buy 4 slices of delicious tiramisu packed delicately in a beautiful box. Is this a good manner? No, not in Japan. In Japan, the number The number of items you give as gift are 3, 5, or more, but never 4. It is simply because the word 4 is pronounced shi in Japanese, which also means death. So superstitious Japanese will avoid giving each other 4 of anything. Generally, they prefer odd numbers to even numbers, and therefore a beautiful set of noritake dinnerware comes only in a set of 5. Okay, move on. Rule number 6. Don't take compliments too seriously. They don't mean it. I know Elaine nodding. Okay, so you practice a little Japanese phrase before you go to Japan, and once you get there, you want to try them to see if they work. Ohayo gozaimasu. All around you, your Japanese contact cracks a big smile, nodding deeply with the affection and say, "Your Japanese is very good." Don't believe it. Then you go to a restaurant with them and you grab a pair of chopsticks, as you have been always doing that whenever you eat Chinese food in the US, and proceed on picking up some sushi. And then your Japanese friends say, "Oh, you can use chopsticks. Very good, very good." Don't believe a word they say. They can pick up a small, sleepily circular ice cubes with their chopsticks. They can pick up every tiny bone out of a grilled catfish with chopsticks. They just say nice things to you because, again, you are not their tribe. On the other hand, a father will put down a son who has graduated from high school with magna cum laude and went to a medical school and became a brain surgeon, and he will still define his son as, "Well, he has a long way to go." Only because this brilliant son of his belongs to his tribe. Now you follow? Okay, you put the members of your tribe down, you put others up. Okay, now, rule number 7, join the concert. You have to forget your mother's caution about good manners when you dine with your Japanese friends. You don't need to tuck your left hand under the table. You can pick up your rice bowl or miso soup and shove food into your mouth with chopsticks. You can slurp noodles, soup, juice, coffee, anything slurpable. Sneeze? Go ahead, no one cares. Talk while your mouth's full. Be merry and enjoy a happy musical meal with your Japanese friends. Rule number 8. Point will come after a long wait. Having learned and taught 2 languages, I think I can say with some confidence that I know the differences of 2 languages and socio-cultural influences that affect language behavior. English is a very direct language. Japanese is not. Japanese beat around the bush as much as and as long as they can before finally making a point. Even the structure of sentences reflects these characteristics. In Japanese, a sentence goes like this. Quit working here, go home, open a bottle of beer, turn on TV, and just relax, I don't think. Whereas in English, you don't have to wait till the end of a sentence to know that the speaker has no intention to do what follows, I don't think. You follow? Okay. Speakers of English state their intention clearly at the beginning. Speakers of Japanese disclose their intention at the end. Similar situations happen in small discourses. Japanese person. Are those my photos? American. Yes, they are. Japanese. So they are my photos. American. Yeah. Japanese. My photos. American. At this point, the American person is perplexed. Why the Japanese person is stupidly asking the same question again and again. And the Japanese person is annoyed and wonders why the American person has not handed these photos to her already. This conversation actually happened between me and my husband after I had my endoscope exam and done and woke up from drug-induced sleep, exposing very vulnerable state of almost being Japanese. Almost. I did not get to examine the photos of inside my stomach due to my Japaneseness. Not only Japanese, but other nations like Korea seem to carry discourse in a similar circumspect manner. In his book, Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell analyzes the crash of Korean Flight 801 in 1997, which killed 228 people, and attributes the cause of the tragedy to failure of communication between the captain and the first officer, both Korean. Bounded by the deference to the superior and the tradition of indirect speech, the first officer could not directly tell the captain that the plane was flying off the projected course and heading toward the mountains. After a series of fatal accidents, Korean Airlines adopted the procedures that now ensures proper communication for flight safety. So you can fly Korean. Okay, the last rules, long goodbye. Now the time has come to say goodbye to your host family or business associates or friends in Japan. Let's say you are leaving from the front door of your friend's house. You've already exchanged extensive goodbyes and come visit me when you come to USS, and Skype is free, we can talk anytime, etc., etc. And now you are really ready to leave. So you put on shoes, open the front door, and walk away. Stop. If you did that, you just committed the last cultural faux pas in Japan. Rewind the tape and go back to where you put your shoes on by the door. So you put on your shoes and say goodbye. Step out of the door and say goodbye. Walk out of the door, walk a few steps, turn around and say goodbye. Walk a few more meters, turn around and say goodbye. At this point, you notice that they have not closed the front door yet and still looking at and waiting at you. So, walk a few more meters, turn around. Are they still looking? well, wave your hands and say goodbye. So you continue, go on and on like this until they are completely out of sight. Japanese linger and cherish the feeling of farewell. Warm memories mixed with a bit of sadness and a drop of relief and future expectations. This concoction of emotions is like a catnip to Japanese. So enjoy and cherish a long goodbye. Then I go, goodbye. 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 Thank you for listening. Okay, well, you may have some comments or questions about the cultural idiosyncrasies I just explained. If you do, I'd like to share, I'd like to hear your comments about that. Yes?
I have a question. If your family, if your tribe is here, in America, we always want to bring our children up. Oh, that's wonderful, you're great. Does that hurt the self-esteem? Because I mean, I know in America we always say, oh, that's about the self-esteem, you have to bring it up.
Exactly.
So how do you feel as a child or as a family member if they're always saying it's not good enough?
Self-esteem is a big issue in Japan because you're right. The children grow up hearing being put down by parents or their tribes, and not as big an issue as here because of the culture of the environment. Everybody put down. But there are also grandmas who like to bring up their grandchildren so much, and then you have to endure all these bragging. It does happen. Yes. Yes.
Could you go over again when you now 45% versus 30% degrees, rather?
This one?
Yeah, I wasn't clear on how you distinguish whether somebody should get a 30% bow or a 40%.
Ah, okay. It says in this slide, it says the first standing, the second one, 15 degree is just a greeting, not even bowing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then the third one, 30 degree, is a good bow. So it's almost like hello.
But to who?
Oh, to like in your boss, in your tribe, meeting together with your business client. And then boss comes later after you arrive to the meeting place. And then to your own boss, you probably go like this.
30.
Yes, but 15.
Oh,
15.
okay.
But to the boss of the other company, your clients, you have to do 30 degrees.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you, as I said, you lower your tribe
Oh.
and then raise the other tribe up.
But then what's the 45 degree?
45. Maybe the asking forgiveness or some negotiation deal was concluded, and then everybody was just very happy with the conclusion. Yes.
If you would repeat the questions too, you're being videotaped and everyone will be able to see this in a couple of weeks on our YouTube. You talked about President Obama. How was he doing?
Yes. Okay, let's show. Well, in my opinion, and he was kind of mocked because of this and other sceneries from Middle Eastern countries. Remember that? Okay. In this case, Emperor and Empress of Japan are here, and I know about Mr. Obama's president's man gave him cultural suggestion beforehand, and they say he is the most important, figurehead of God, not politically very strong, but Emperor, you have to pay the utmost respect to him. So therefore, he's doing like 45-degree bowing. But if you look at the emperor, he's not responding the same way, right? he is, so Mr. Obama put himself in a lower status compared to the emperor by lowering himself too deep. He could have just stopped about 30 degrees or maybe less than that, and then kind of sense the air around there. And if the emperor went deep, he probably that would have been the right thing to do deep together. Yes.
So my understanding is that when you vow with someone, it's a simultaneous vow, and so you're always sort of peeking up to see how far they vow. And so you know how far to vow.
Okay, the question is, how do you know how far you should go? You really don't peek. Your eyes are all downcast always, so you don't look at somebody's face when you. So you really don't know. Japanese know instinctively how deep you should go because they know millions of combination of in-tribe, out-tribe, family, out-of-family, boss, and they know vertical structure so well. I think that's one of the most difficult thing for American people because you're not accustomed to vertical society like Japan and Korea.
So talk about the difference between men and women now.
Okay, the differences between men and women bowing. Men, the hand stays on the side of your body like this, and then straight back. Women, the hands goes across in front of you and then bow. I have seen department store clerks going like this and then go like this, but that's only for clerks, shopping stores and stuff. You don't do this, just like that. Okay. Yes?
How tolerant are the Japanese?
How
tolerant are the Japanese when we make terrible mistakes?
good question. How tolerant? They are very forgivable for persons. It's again, you are not their tribe, so you are always outsider or guest. And when guest makes mistakes, they forgive you, you know. But if you are considered to be inside their family or tribe, then it's different. Then they be disrespectful. They may criticize you if you make mistakes, but as long as you are outside, all the mistakes are forgiven.
Was part of the issue with this vow of President Obama that he was shaking hands at the same time as vowing?
Yes, they do that. They do shake hands and they bow at the same time. But shaking hands is a foreign custom to Japanese. So it's a little bit awkward. I think it was introduced from Western societies and then now it's mixed. You don't often do that in Japan. Physical contact is very limited in Japan. Even if you see your host sister, you don't hug. But they may be used to being hugged because they know you. But if you are not that close, physical contacts have to be avoided. Yes.
In today's society, do women walk behind the men? Or is that?
I have to think about that because I have two older sisters, and I'm sure second sister will not do that. Will just walk side by side. But the first sister may do that. I'm not sure. She uses different language to her husband, and when he calls her, she says, like, yes, sir, something. So it's very different. She's older. She still lives in a traditional family background. Yes. But the young people, yes.
I was taught the first phrase we should learn to use in Japanese is "gomenasai."
Oh, like this?
Gomenasai.
Were you here at the first time when I started talking about this?
Well, because you've made a mistake and you're asking for forgiveness, or you're asking
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you made a serious mistake, you may want to do this gomenasai, but you can go without that.
Yeah.
Yes. You can go without that. Yes. Girls like to do things like that. that. It's a little cute to do this, but men's probably not. Yes.
Can you ask for forgiveness?
Yes, yes, of course. Every day. Yes. I know. They make lots of mistakes. They do. Yes, they actually. Sumimasen is used so often in Japan. Sumimasen means excuse me or thank you or lots of translated in many ways. For example, if you give a gift to a family, Japanese family, instead of saying, they may say, Sumimasen, I am so sorry that you took time to run around the town finding this gift and then paying some money and then brought this to my house. I caused you so much trouble. I'm so sorry. That's their thank you. So that's Japanese. Any other questions? Yes.
So we're going to be hosting a Japanese teacher, and he will come to our house. And do we want to treat him, try to be Japanese to make him comfortable, or do we want to be very American to show him how we are?
Well, I know who he is. English teachers, and he's been overseas a couple times, so he may be used to the American way. But I'm still learning. I've been living here 27 years, but I'm still learning the American ways. American way is just like a language, very direct. And Japanese have layers of politeness. And then at the end there's a core. You don't go down there very easily. Japanese kind of expect that if you're in Japan. But if you are here, he will probably get out of the layers and then try to be direct.
So we can tell him it's okay not to be polite. We will understand. We will understand better if you aren't polite.
Yes, that'd be interesting. And then he will be still polite. Yes, I will try to be polite. Yes.
Could you talk a little bit more about what feminism might mean to young Japanese women and young Japanese men today? How the dynamics are playing out?
Oh, okay. Well, I am not really good commentator for that because I've been away from Japan for so long, 27 years. And every time I go back to Japan, I felt really frustrated about women's positions in Japan. But I know things are changing a little bit. And my students who are going to Japan soon will find out. But almost everybody says at the host family situations, man sits at the table and talks to the students, while women or wife stands in the kitchen and cooks. And then she brings food and maybe join them a little bit, but then she does dishes. So things seems not to have changed too much. Very frustrating to me. Yes.
I have two questions. So, like, can we also ask to help out, like, the dishes?
That would be very good.
Okay, and then also, now for the long goodbyes, would you say, like, jane, or would you say, like, sayonara?
Oh, sayonara. Long goodbye is very formal, so sayonara.
Like, we could do, like, jane, and, like, when we can't say it, we do sayonara. Like, you know, just scream it out.
Well, the host families, you should probably say sayonara. To your host sister or host brother, usually she's going to Japan, so she has she's the two same age people, you should say jane. But for older people, you should. Again, Japan has vertical structure, and you can adapt and then change the language depending on who you are talking to. I was gonna include this, but it's too complicated. But I have a best friend who is a mother of my former student, and my best friend, she is older than me, and to her, from her point of view, I am her daughter's teacher, need to respect, but at the same time, I am younger than her, so you don't have to respect that much. So the conversation between her and me is just like an art itself. I go this way and then drop down myself all of a sudden, and then bring up. And it goes up and down, respect the environment, all these mixtures of language. And it's kind of fun. Someday I like to record my conversation like that, and then have linguists decide what's happening there. It's very interesting. Yes?
Could you talk about the respect for elders in Japan and how that is different from the United States, and if it is being sustained in a way it obviously is not sustained in the United States or other cultures?
Right. I would say still elderly is respected in Japan a lot. And in train, for example, the subway trains in Tokyo, there is a seat for the ladies who are pregnant or elderly or disabled people. And so they are treated with respect. But now the society is changing a lot, and the number of people who would take care of them are decreasing. As you may know this, the Japanese population is not growing as fast as it should be. And people who are supporting older generation is kind of decreasing. So lots of single, older, elderly people living by themselves. And I heard there are issues of suicide because the younger generation is no longer take care of them, they are lonely, alone, and the type of facilities you have in the United States do not exist in Japan. Like assisted living, or the degree of difficulty increases, you get more assistance or support from institutions. That's not there yet. Privately, it's not there yet. Government tries to do that a lot. So it's a big issue. Older people, they still do it with respect. Okay. Yes.
Would you explain the transit system if I were there as a tourist, the appropriateness of getting on the subway? And I heard they just pack in very closely.
Yeah.
And do they push? Or, I mean, it seems like...
This is a question about the survival situation. It's a very good question. When you are in Tokyo, you have to get on the subway system. And the subway system, there are 38 lines, so complicated. And there are stops, and there are millions of people coming in and out. So don't worry about the politeness. Just you're gonna have to. When the door opens, you have to push hard to get out. Otherwise, you will be trapped inside. You will never be able to leave the train. There are tons of people coming in, but they know the reason, so they let you guys go out first, and then when they see it's about the time I have to get in, then they rush in. So if you're in the middle of the car and then swimming with the people, no, you have to wait until next station. Yes, so be rude, push. That's what I tell my students. Don't be Iowans, don't even be Japanese in subway train, you just push. Yes?
There used to be a fairly large size discrepancy between Japanese and Americans. And I think, is that still so? And if so, we would have an advantage because we're heavier and we can push harder.
Let's see. There's Daisuke kun desu ka? Hi. Can you stand up and see? He's young. Okay. How old are you?
21.
21.
Yes.
It's 20 dollars. So that's the generation is growing. You may have to fight harder.
I'll get the old ladies.
Yes.
I'll win over the old ladies.
Okay, any other questions? Well, if there is no questions, I think we will conclude the speech and the discussion.
Well, and this has been fascinating. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.